But I do feel the prayers, and it's prayers from hundreds and hundreds of Jamaicans who have reached out. And, in these times, sometimes your own faith can be weakened. But I can assure you, Madam Speaker, and indeed this nation, my faith is stronger today than it has been. I want to thank the police for their work that they're doing, and to urge everybody to continue to pray so that they will be returned safely. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Jamaica YouTube, you know, I'm just big up. Jamaica YouTube, big up on the
Boy, JY family, when you just don't know, you just don't know. Dear Mr. Philip was hoping for the best. Never knew he would receive the worst news he could ever receive. Yeah, man. Baby, madam, baby. Gone, JY family. Yeah, so that speech is when everything was on an investigation and we did not learn of the demise as yet. Boy. But JY family, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome back. Boy, this heinous, gruesome act. Every day there is something else regarding this story. Because here I was thinking that, hey, all right now, it is confirmed that Miss Patterson and the baby, get slapped with. And Karen Cross will show a lot of sympathy, because everybody keep texting and asking in the comment section. Well, maybe to some people this video not gonna mean nothing to them, but we have 50,000 subscribers, what we call family, and everybody share different views. So whatever the people them ask, whatever you guys ask, whatever the family asks, I have to go above and beyond and search for those info and bring it, right? So persons were asking what Karen Cross have to say now in all of this, because remember when the whole thing start, Karen Cross diss up a baby mother, call her a bitch, and the list go on and on and on. And she sided with Leota, and big her up and say she's a Navy SEAL and she don't think that she is in anything of the sort, and she's coping well, and she's soon gone back to the US, and the list goes on and on and on. So due to the fact that I bring that, now we have a follow-up now, because Karen Cross break her silence regarding the situation. And JY family, I'm telling you, I don't want to spoil it for you. I need you guys to listen carefully, because a whole heap of bomb dropping at the one here. We just all name a few things. Karen Cross is saying that Peter Bunting used to touch the baby mother, that is now deceased, Miss Patterson, and that is why the whole DNA come about, because Bunting name did a call upon the baby, and the list goes on and on and on. Me I tell you, trust me. She even go as far as saying that the political war going on in the PNP camp, and they might try get out Mr. Paulwell. Yeah, because she has a family gone missing. Everything start crumble for Paulwell. You understand? So she even go as far as saying Miss Patterson was working with Burke them in the PNP, the husband and wife. To me, as me say, even though me giving you those synapses, trust me, still not gonna spoil it for you. Me just attack because YouTube say we have to talk in the video. We can't just put up the video and just throw it out so. But JY family, grab a cup of coffee, grab your earpod, and turn up the volume and listen. And when you're done, want you comment down below and tell me if Miss Cross is making any sense at all regarding what she's saying. But boy, some serious allegation them here. The views that expressed here is not off Jamaica YouTube TV. And if you should feel offended, Jamaica YouTube TV will not be held accountable. Boss a like and boss a share.
All right? So let me repeat for those of you who have all kind of things to say, those of you who saying that the Burks should sue me, I wish they would. I honestly do wish that they would sue me. All right? But for those of you who saying all of that, continue to say it because I want them to. I really want them to go file that lawsuit. So let me repeat, see if I can give them a helping hand to go file that lawsuit. Angela Brown-Burke is under investigations by the FBI. Let me repeat that. Angela Brown-Burke is under investigation for the cloning of Paulwell's phone by the FBI. It goes a little further than that because the FBI have to share information and get in contact and bring on board the National Crime Agency in Britain. And the National Crime Agency is the British version of the FBI. Another British agency is also involved, which is the fraud agency. I think they call themselves Action Fraud, but the British them are very simple about things. Action Fraud, which is a cyber security agency in Britain. The FBI and the National Crime Agency operated under the same umbrella, them doing things together with that investigation. Action crime comes into the play because of the account number, the account that which belongs to Paul Burke and Angela Brown-Burke. It's Paul Burke ganja account. It's the ganja business kick off in this country. The ganja thing that Raymond Price set in motion in this country and Mark Golding want to take credit for, that one. Paul Burke went around the country and him engage all kind of people in the ganja business. Of course, Paul Burke always does that and then leave the people them out in the cold and him one out there and make money and do him one. So I want him MO that. If they engage a lot of people and then him alone end up making all the money. But let me not say that for fact because there are some people who quarreling, but then there are some who not. So those are things that I'm repeating to you. That is so. Now, they are investigating her for the cloning of Paulwell's phone, which is a total and separate thing from the death, alleged, supposedly death of Paulwell's baby mother number 2 and the 10-month-old baby. And I should admit to you that I am skeptical about all of this. I am not Matlock, I am not Angela Lansbury, I'm not Agatha Christie, but I have some skepticism about it. But the thing that you all must understand is this. There's baby mother number 1. There's baby mother number 2 who has a baby. There's a baby mother number 1 who has a 8-year-old daughter for Paulwell. There's baby mother number 2 who had a 10-month-old baby for Paulwell. There's Paul Burke and there's Angela Brown-Burke. But then there's also the mysterious Jessica Deans. And Jessica Deans plays a more pivotal role in this than anybody ever thought. And I'm not going to talk about baby mother number 1 arrest and about those things because I don't have everything. And I am still a skeptic. All right? I might be proven wrong, but I am still a skeptic in all this thing. But you all must understand that this is a vast conspiracy to destroy Philip Fiani Paulwell. A vast conspiracy that started when Paulwell's gun was stolen. And this is the part where I'm asking you to pick sense out of nonsense. So let's go back a bit, because our police force does not investigate by going back. Our police detectives are detectives that look into things that are in front of them. They prosecute and investigate things that are in front of them. They does not have the sophistication to go back a year back or 2 years back to check on something, to tie it in with something that happened now. Them don't do that. Maybe them no watch Law and Order. Maybe them no watch NCIS. Maybe them no watch Hawaii 5-0. We don't know. Maybe them no watch it. But our police force don't seem to do that. Our police detectives, them always focus on what's in front of them, and that's because, I mean, any ordinary, normal police investigator with any level of sense would want to look into the possibility that this is a vast conspiracy to destroy Paulwell. And they would want to go back to that file and get back that file about Paulwell's gun being stolen, and check back that file, see who they spoke to, who had access to Paulwell's vehicle, because the gunman never hold up Paulwell and take away him gun. No gunman never hold up, the man never broke into his vehicle and mash up him glass, the car door or window to get the vehicle. That gun was taken by somebody who was close to Paulwell. And everybody come up with all kind of conjecture about how that could have happened. And people make those comments based on, some people make comments based on Paulwell's lifestyle that they perceive. Some people make those comments about all kind of things, different things to come to that conclusion. But here's what I think. I think that the stealing of Paulwell's gun was the beginning of this vast operation to take down Paulwell. That's what I think. And I'm going to separate what I think to what I know to be true. That is what I think. All right? I think that baby mother number 2, who's a riser, who was sleeping with Bunting, who was into the Paulberg Rise camp, I think she was integral in the stealing of Paulwell's gun. I think so. I think that baby mother number 2 was also very close friends with Jessica Deans. That is what I think. These are not facts that I know, and I want to separate those things so you can know what I think. It is known, however, that baby mother number 2 is a riser in the Rise camp, close with the Burks then, close with all of the other risers then, was sleeping with Bunting, which is why Paulwell was skeptical about the baby being his and wanted the DNA and all the rest of it. The Burks, Paul and Angela, saw baby mother number 2 as a pawn in their plot to take down Paulwell. And so they befriended her, kept her close. And Jessica Dean's job it was to keep her in the fold, to say things to her, to agitate her feelings toward Paulwell wanting to get the DNA. And you women out there, you know what I'm talking about. Jessica Deans played in this saga. So Jessica Deans, and you have to ask yourself a couple of questions while you listen to me, while you put aside your dislike for me. You ask yourself a couple of questions. First question you have to ask yourself is, why this elaborate plan to destroy Philip Paulwell? Elaborate plan to destroy Philip Paulwell. And the second question you have to ask yourself is, who is Jessica Deans? So Jessica Deans was the conduit between both baby mothers. As is evident in baby mother number 1 statement that she put out, and some other communication she has had with other people, she did not know, baby mother number 1 did not know about baby mother number 2 until Jessica Deans revealed it to her. And Jessica Deans revealed the existence of baby mother number 2 and the baby to baby mother number 1 for a specific reason. For a specific reason. And that reason goes back to the stealing of Paulwell's gun, the cloning of Paulwell's phone, and what Paulwell and baby mother number 1 was planning to do about the cloning of the phone. So Jessica Deans was frantically sending email. We don't know how she got the email address of baby mother number 1. And at some point in some of the conversations and the statement that baby mother number 1 have made, she thought Jessica Deans was baby mother number 2 at some point, until she was told that she's not by Jessica Deans. Jessica Deans was reaching out to baby mother number 1 to inform baby mother number 1 that there is a baby mother number 2 with a baby. When she finally got to her, because baby mother number 1 said in her statements and stuff that she has given that she never saw those reaching out emails and text and messenger message from Jessica Deans till long late. Because Jessica Deans kept going after her, emailing her, want to talk to her, right? And keep saying that, and somebody must go back and read, because some of you have it. Go back and read some of it. I'm going to ask Michelle to clarify some of what I said and to put out some other things to back up what I'm saying. In one conversation that got me interested, one conversation, one thing that Jessica Deans said to baby mother number 1. And because I have an investigative mind, I'm a politician. And many people don't know, but part of politics now is psychology. And if you're not good at psychology, you can't go talk to people about politics. So you better be good at that. So this one little thing that Jessica Deans stood out for me. Jessica Deans said to baby mother number 1, why are you trying to catch us? Why are you trying to catch us? Are you trying to catch us? I am telling you this, I'm telling you that. But the thing that stands out for me is, why are you trying to catch us? Catch us who? Catch us who about what? So Jessica Deans was on the defensive when baby mother number 1 was saying back some things to her. Jessica Deans is the strings, the tie that binds baby mother number 1 and baby mother number 2 together. Jessica Deans is the person who pitched baby mother number 1 and baby mother 2 together. Pitch them together. Make sure they know each other. Make sure that baby mother number 1 know who she is and that she have a baby. Make sure of that. Make sure that baby mother number 1 knows a whole heap of other things in regards to baby mother number 2. And baby mother number 1, I'm not excusing any actions that they might charge her for. I'm not excusing that, I don't know yet. I am skeptical. I'm talking about the elaborate conspiracy to destroy Philip Paulwell, to get him out of East Kingston. And Jessica Deans is string number 1. She is the grandmaster in the chess game, moving the pieces to create animosity between baby mother 1 and baby mother 2, to make sure baby mother 1 knew about number 2, and make sure that there is some kind of animosity between them, creating that same thing that the young lady did by keep telling the young man saying he will kill himself and he mustn't seek no help, he must just go on. It is my understanding that baby mother number 1 came to Jamaica maybe a week or less than a week before the whole disappearance of number 2 and the baby. When baby mother number 1 came to Jamaica, she came to Jamaica with an FBI agent. Now this is not conjecture. I'm telling you this. This is truth. She came to Jamaica with an FBI agent. Baby mother one came to Jamaica. No, you know the FBI, for all of those who have angst with me and the FBI thing, the FBI don't operate with one man thing, they operate as a team. So if she comes here with an FBI agent, I am going to assume that the agent that she came here with is the lead agent, and I'm going to assume that there were agents here waiting for lead agent. Maybe one, maybe two, like more than likely two, because it's out of country. They came here, being by the number one and the FBI agent, for one particular reason, which is why Jessica Deans was so frantically trying to reach her, to corrupt her mind, to send her off track, to send her go in a different direction. I don't know how powerful these things are, you know. To trip her up. Jessica Deans was trying to trip her up and succeeded in tripping her up. She came to Jamaica with the FBI agent because Philip Paulwell and the FBI was going to have a news conference, which she, being man number one, was going to be a part of. That news conference was going to be being man number one, Philip Paulwell, the FBI, and they were going to give a news conference about the cloning of Philip Paulwell's phone. Knowing the FBI, they probably wouldn't have called Angela Brown Burke's name, but they would have given enough information for us to know that Angela Brown Burke is the culprit that cloned Philip Paulwell's phone. Now let me remind you, I'm going to remind you of something when I disclose something else. That press conference did not happen. That press conference went off track because of the input of Jessica Deans, all that she was putting in. And maybe the day before or so, the baby missed. I think the press conference was scheduled for either the Monday or the Tuesday. Brought about the time that everybody went missing. I have to go check that and put that out to you to clarify you. But the press conference was scheduled with the FBI and Philip Paulwell and Baby Mother number one to talk about the cloning of Paulwell's phone by Angela Brown Burke. Looking forward to that suing papers. Jessica Deans, which everybody in Jamaica should know by now, is Sayer Nikisha Wilson. Sayer Nikisha Wilson has been the grandmaster carrying out the instructions of Angela and Paul in terms of the destruction of Paulwell to bring down Philip Paulwell. Jessica Deans has been the grandmaster in that chess game. She is running that chessboard with instructions from the Burkes. Some of you might recall that some time ago, the same Sayer Nikisha Wilson cloned Winston Green's phone. God bless his soul. May he continue to rest in the arms of Jesus. But she was sleeping with Winston Green and she cloned him phone because she seemed to be a sick young woman, Sayer Nikisha Wilson, and she would do anything for money and access to power. She don't exactly want the power, she just wanted access to power and to be, that kind of people who want to be in, have access to power. So Jessica Deans threw the baby mothers together to create that clash. And some of you will say, yeah, but the girl hire man for murder, you don't know that yet. And I would like to advise you. I don't have to listen to me as usual, but I'd like to advise you to hold on that argument a little bit. Whatever she did, and I can conclude that she did something that led to the arming of the 10-month-old baby. I really don't care about the mother. I still don't. Don't call me heartless, because I don't care about her, because she was a part of this elaborate plan to destroy Paulwell. She was in the middle of it, in the thick of it. The Burks was using her to infiltrate Paulwell, which is why every time Paulwell make a move, them know. So there's Jessica Deans, number one. The elaborate thing to take down Paulwell. We also believe, I believe, that Jessica Deans was the one who orchestrated Beerman number 2 to take away Paulwell's gun. Now, I don't know what the police know. I don't know what they have. As I said, our police are limited in terms of their intellect. And I'm not an intellectual, but in terms of their investigative skills, they don't believe in going back 1 year, 2 years and look at something. Somebody's name come up in an ordinary investigation 2 years after something happened to them. You go back. You must go back. Something has a missing gun. And then this, 1 year later, go back, man. Go back to that file and start piece things together as an investigative officer. And once you piece, I think maybe the police don't want to do it. I think they want to stay away from it. That they want to concentrate on the immediate crime in front of them, the abduction and disappearance of Bembada, number 2, and the baby. I am not going to impose my own thought process in terms of what happened with that. Not now. I'll wait a bit. Not now. I will have something to say, but not now. The second reason for the elaborate plan to take down Philip Paulwell is this. Paulwell have begun to make some moves to reclaim the Norman Gardens division and control his constituency from Paul Christopher Burke. I've said it before, let me say it again. Paul Burke is basically running the Norman Gardens division. And he's running the Norman Gardens division because the councillor Jacqueline Lewis is an absentee councillor. She don't live here. And Paulwell should remove her very quickly. Very quickly, Paulwell should people them up in arms with her. Just yesterday evening, somebody called me from East Kingston and said, you can't, I'm here, there. You can call me back. And when me call back, 6-7 people for the one phone call. Sometimes whispering, sometimes loud shouting. They don't want her back, and Paulwell should remove her, and nobody can stop him from remove her. Paulwell can just go to him executive, go to the regional council, and say removing her. She's absent. She has not performed her job well as councillor, as Paul Burke running the division. And part of Paulwell's problem in his constituency is because Paulwell running one of his divisions, because Paul Burke running one of his divisions. So Paulwell now having recognized this elaborate plot to take him down, because they ramp up the plot. I'm going to tell you when they ramp up the plot. All right? I'm going to tell you when. But Paulwell started making moves to reclaim his constituency because he is the one that the people of East Kingston and Port Royal elected. Nobody elected Paul Burke. Paul Burke couldn't run for dog catcher in East Kingston. He wouldn't even get his own vote. He wouldn't even vote for himself if he should offer himself to run for anything. Nobody in East Kingston and Port Royal would vote for Paul Burke for anything. Not even those who he perceived to be his friend. They probably wouldn't show up. But for some reason, he has total control of one of Paulwell's division. The people's representative, the person that the people go out and vote for. His name on the ballot. Paul Burke's name is not on any ballot. Nobody ever elected him to anything. He has no business running one of Paulwell's division. And Paulwell began to make moves to reclaim his division. Rightly so. Because if he doesn't reclaim that division, the constituency is going to fall apart. Because that's part of the conspiracy. To make sure the constituency fall apart. That's part of the conspiracy. Paul Burke is being in Norman Gardens to make sure that Paulwell fail. And Councillor Lorraine Dapsey is going to vex him more than she vex him, but she's a non-performing councillor as well. None of not helping Paulwell, and Paulwell probably need to remove both of them. They are a drag in the constituency. And the people need new councillors. They don't ask for the changing of the member of parliament. They're asking for the changing of their councillors. That's what they're asking for. So Paul Burke recognizing that Paulwell making the moves to reclaim his constituency. That's one of the things. What triggered this off What trigger off the pushing and the prodding by Jessica Deans to make sure baby mother number 1 knew about baby mother number 2. For them to set up all them derelicts where them set up. And believe me when I tell you, them set up derelicts. But you've got to wait. You have to wait. Which is why I'm asking you. Just put aside your dislike for me right now. And go look. And go deduct. And go be sleuths. Go reason things out. Go talk to people in East Kingston. Just put aside that and wait. Be patient. I'm a patient person. I am a very patient person. I am not jittery. You can't say something about me and me run to Facebook and start going with things. I am not that. People in my community fear that. That somebody do something and I hear about it. And for days, weeks even, I don't even look at them until the time comes to look at them. I'm very patient. But the patience is not about whether you wait to do something. The patience is about gathering more information. The patience is about getting a better feel of what is happening around you. The patience is about not rushing to judgment, but to deduce and configure timelines and events and personnel and piecing it together to come to a conclusion. That is what the patience is all about. Nothing else. What kick off this whole thing that have now led to seemingly the death of a 10-month-old baby? And I don't even want to talk about the possible death of a 10-month-old baby. I can't talk about it like some people can. I can't. I'm not as tough as you all think I am. The baby mother, I'm not holding any brief for her. I do not care. She was an original part of this conspiracy. She, Jessica Deans, Angela, and Paul, and whoever else them have in the midst. I think there's somebody else. I just don't put my finger on it yet. I don't want to call the person name until I put my finger on it. I just going by information, piece information that I get. But I need to go someplace before I clarify that and see if that person really involved. And then I will come around and then them have to send me a next letter about something about suing. The whole thing got into a frenzy when the FBI, the FBI was coming to do the press conference with Paulwell and baby mother number 1. And 2, when Paul Burke, with the help of some PNP delegates, put in the Constitution that nobody can challenge Mark Golding a year out of the elections. Now let me repeat to you, PNP people. Paul Burke has put in the Constitution, and it's going to give him the Constitution to have it do anything you want with it. It's going to give him. I don't have the guts nor the courage to take it back from him. And Mark Golding don't want to take it away from him. Because Mark Golding play a role in, I'm soon telling you what role Mark Golding play, and this is where you're probably not going to put away on the dislike for me. Because I'm going to tell you the role that Mark Golding played. Which is why I can't say nothing now. Paulwell intended to go to the conference to say to the private session of the conference that this thing that they put in the Constitution, that nobody can challenge the leader a year out from the election, is not only unconstitutional, it is undemocratic. This is the kind of thing that Putin would put in, or Erdogan would put in. This is the kind of thing that dictators put in, the kind of thing that the Chinese put in, where man served as Chinese president for life. This is the kind of undemocratic things that start to erode the basic tenets of democracy. And you, the PNP people, have allowed it to happen. And Paul was a part of the first basic depleting the basic tenets of democracy by having 4 vice presidents who did not face the delegates. Because I'm afraid that having an election of vice president might fracture the party. Having an election internally always unites the party. It never ever fractures it. It is people who lose and don't know how to accept losses that always cause the fracturing. It's not the act itself of having a election, internal election, that divides the party. No, it is not. Peter Phillips and Portia had an election. The division lasted up no more than 2 months before people start getting it back together. PJ and Portia had a 92 election. There was no division there, so people vex. And then people are vexed more. Why? It is incumbent on the winner to make sure that the losers feel welcome. It is incumbent on the winner to make sure that the losers feel included. Feel like this is nothing. This was just a contest between me and you and me win. That's all it was. But it is incumbent on the winner to make sure of that, to do everything he or she can to make sure of that. Mark Golding did not do that. If anything, he has gone out of his way to further divide the party. And Paul and Angela Brownberg has ensured, and somehow so deep into our own little positions and our own little money, that we're not paying attention to these things. And believe me, it hurt me sometimes to watch, It hurt me to watch, how not protect on a council seat, how no NEC membership. And they don't recognize and realize that it is the Burks who are leading Mark and who's telling him that don't do that and don't do that. They don't want the party to unite. If the party unite, the Burks now have no role in it. Nobody likes them. None of you that dislike me like them. Matter of fact, who don't like me more than them, I can put on my pat on that most someone who hate me and dislike me, like me more than them. If the party should unite, they would not have a role to play. And they can't let that happen. They have to keep that division in order to control Mark, to make sure that their power is secure. It's not about Mark, it's about their power. So Paulwell, what kicked it into high gear that caused the scene in the death of a 10-month-old baby, is that Paulwell was going to conference to say to the conference, this is undemocratic. This would erode everything that we have fought for, everything that we believe in, everything that Norman Manley said, everything that Michael said, everything that PJ said, everything that Peter Phillips said, everything that Portia Simpson Miller said. This is going to throw it all away. But let me remind you, the PNP delegates and voters, that this is the very same thing they did to Peter Phillips in 2019. Peter Phillips and his team was making the case that a challenge now would fracture the party going into an election. Now I can tell you this. I never buy it then. I don't buy it now. I believe with all my heart, and I still believe that Peter Bunting's challenge to Peter Phillips in 2019 was his democratic right as a member of the People's National Party to mount that challenge. It was his right. I mean, now take that from him, as much as he's a disgusting animal. It was his right to offer himself to the delegates of the People's National Party and to present himself as an alternative. It was his right. Any member's right. As a member in good standing, you can offer yourself. And this is what position. You can't just get to a conference and get one person to nominate you and go up on the ballot and go run. Enoch Blake ran for vice president every year for about 6 years. Who could stop him? Nobody. Paul Burke himself ran against PJ Patterson several times for chairman of the People's National Party. Who could stop him? Nobody. Because every year the party chairman has to be re-elected. Every year the party general secretary has to be re-elected. Every year the NEC members have to be re-elected or new ones elected. Every year the people in the constituencies and the division have to elect new officers. No, Mark get not to have that. No, him is the only one who do have to face that. That him don't have to come to you September next year and say to you, I am offering myself again as leader, and somebody can get up and say, me offer myself too. They want to take that away from any ordinary member or anybody who have aspirations of being a leader. Do you know that things like these cause places like Russia and China and Turkey and them places to exist, and Iran and Iraq and all them places. It's things like these that this is how it started. Them take away one little piece, then them take a next little piece, then a little piece, and sooner or later, irrelevant. When they can't walk around and beat up on the chest, but you're not delegate for nothing. And if a couple of you organize yourselves and go to the NEC to say, yo, we want that come out of the Constitution, they're going to come to you and they're going to buy you out. They're going to go to 110,000 and say, make it stable because Mark needs to steal. They're going to sell on an argument. I'm going to take their money. I'm not going to make sure they're not in the conference room when that my argument come up. But Paulwell was going to the conference. He was going to the conference with it. And he had support. He had lots of support. And this is where Mark comes into the whole debacle now. Mark complained incessantly about Paulwell. Incessantly complained. And Paul Burke said to Mark, don't worry, I'll take care of Philip. Now, those of you who know him as well as I do, let me just see if I can mimic that conversation for you. So Mark going complaining and whining and whinging about Paulwell coming to conference and doing this and Paulwell this and Paulwell. And Paul Burke said, Mark, don't worry. You're going to be Prime Minister. I will talk to Philip. I will deal with Philip. Don't listen to the talk part, you know. Because that's how him talk. Like a gangster. Just like Donald Trump. That's how him talk. Like a mob boss. I will talk to Philip. I will deal with Philip. Don't worry, I will take care of it. May I repeat for you word for word what Paul Burke would have said. And Mark would say, okay, and leave it alone. And leave Burke to talk to him. Now, no other leader would do that. No other leader. Peter Phillips just sent a call Paulwell and sit down with him. PJ would have sent a call Paulwell, and PJ and John Jr. and KD and Vinland. Who would have sit down and talk to Paulwell about that? But no, not this flimsy, nasty looking white man that take over the People's National Party through devious means, through attack and treachery. Him said to Paul Burke, okay, which is why he can't come out and say nothing now. He is eyeball deep into this conspiracy. And I said to him, you don't have to like me. You don't even have to like what I have to say. You don't even have to believe anything I've said. Just do no own sleuthing. Do no own investigations. Do no own deductions. Do no own rare blah blah. You know. Back when I used to watch Westerns, my favorite line in any Western, once there's a bank robbery, nobody don't know who, the sheriff instruct the deputy, say, okay boys, let's go round up the usual suspects. The usual suspects are the usual suspects. Who would do this? Who would do that? It's like in your house with a whole picnic and you're trying to figure out who threw the garbage through the kitchen window. Now, if I am trying to figure out who threw the garbage through the kitchen window, I am narrowing it down to two people. I'm narrowing it down to my grandson and his mother. That's them two. If I should look through the window and there is a drum with water right a little bit away from that side kitchen window, that water is to use in the toilet if there's no water, or to wet the plants if there's no water. And when them get lazy and them don't see no garbage bag in the kitchen, the damn blasted people them put them on through the window and rest things. Other people do it too. But if I am going to make a summation, if I'm going to deduct and reason it out, my usual suspects will be them too. And I'm always saying, oh, it's them too, me always ask. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes it's somebody, sometimes my sister. Sometimes it's my niece. But no matter what happens, I'm going for the usual suspects. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. I'm going straight to the usual suspects. Of course, I'm going to ask the other people them too. When them say no them. So, Mark Golding, don't know if him talk to Paulwell privately, but Andrew Holness, who is 29 points in the poll, and Mark is 14, in terms of the leader matchup, said what he had to say in Parliament. Members of Parliament get up, Mrs. Favour Williams, I believe, and express good wishes to Paulwell, and then after that, Angela try a thing. Not genuine, just to cover up our tracks. And there you have it. Paulwell is going to conference to make noise about that clause. And there were people there who was going to make noise with him to have it removed so that PNP people can have their democratic rights restored. Because Paul Burke himself, under normal circumstances, would be quarreling about that. But those things don't make a difference to him now. Now him a fight for him power and him wife power. So now him can throw it out. Back in the day, if anybody should ever suggest that shit, he would be the first person on the conference floor taking up the whole first part of the morning of conference, going on about it. But no, it don't matter, because it threatens him power and him wife power, and them have to get rid of Paulwell. Paulwell is them focus. Paulwell is not involved in any abduction of baby mother or baby. Paulwell is not involved in this. The whole thing was directed at him to get him. And I want to know, not to believe me, but to deduce it on yourself, and to conclude what I need to conclude about it all. And this is where it stands. And Philip Paulwell not going to resign. Not after what I hear from the people in East Kingston for the last couple of days. He's not going to resign, and them don't want him to resign. Them dying to get rid of the Burkes. Them want this to be the straw that break the camel's back. Them want the Burkes them gone, and them want Jacqueline Lewis gone. This is what the people of East Kingston and Port Royal want. And if they wanted anything else, I'd come and tell you. If they were saying that Paulwell should resign, I would have come tell you. They are not saying that. Not one. Because they know more than some of them want to say. Because, as I said, I'm not saying nothing about the other part of it, but we will talk about the other part of it. That if it's the baby and the baby mother in Warwick Hills, in a Philip Paulwell constituency, do any of you know what it takes to get past to go to the place? You not only need passport, you need visa from several countries. You probably need your birth certificate and your driver's license and your food handler's permit. You probably need several permits to go to that place. Can't do anything. But as I said, we're not talking about that yet. I just want to make it clear to you that what I have said is true, and I will continue to say it, and I will not retreat from it. And this is a vast conspiracy by Paul and Angela Brown-Burke to get rid of Philip Paulwell, and Mark has found himself in the middle of it because Paul Burke promised him going to take care of Philip Paulwell. And he has not said anything yet as the leader of the opposition. Nothing. He don't even, a good press secretary would say to him, listen, you don't need to mention Paulwell, but you could go out there and talk about the baby and the baby mother who was a riser in M camp. You could say something uplifting and empathetic and, to lift the spirits of people. The Jamaican police need more training in empathy, in how they disclose information, because I don't think they realize just how much grief they have set out on the Jamaican people when they just came out and just bam, just announced that like that. People were devastated by it, by just hearing it. They had no tact, no way of, when the police in any state in the US is going to announce that anything that something going to happen, I want you to pay attention when that will happen next time in the US. It's not only the police that is there standing there. There's always a psychologist or a grief counselor or somebody who get to say something to put the public's mind at ease. But the police just boom and just come out and just drop that.
Me love Jamaica, me not sell out. Them try clip we wings, somehow we can't fly out. But when we there yard, nothing nice like Jamaica. Roast breadfruit and banana. Under the tree with a glass.